I never cared much for politics. Not until the day they killed him. Commander Jacob Reiner, Earth's first true leader of the Galactic Council. The man who finally forced the rest of those alien bastards to take us seriously. He wasn't a politician in the classic sense. He was a soldier first, decorated 3 times in the Orion rebellions. He had the scars and the steel eyes to prove it. We followed him because he didn't bow to them, because he knew they would never see us as equals. He was buying us time to build, to strengthen, to prepare. But it wasn't enough. It happened on Primus Station. Officially, a diplomatic summit. Unofficially, a joke, a stage where the so-called elder species paraded their arrogance. They tolerated us only because Earth's military kept growing, and because Reiner was too damn clever to outmaneuver. I was there. Captain Mark Brenner, Earth Security Forces, Diplomatic Protection Detail. Close quarter squad, assigned to Reiner's perimeter. We swept the hall twice, triple reinforced shields, drone surveillance in every corner. It should have been locked down tight. Should have. The shot came from nowhere. No flash, no heat signature. 1 second Reiner was standing at the council podium, staring down the smirking Zarn High Chancellor. The next, he staggered, hand to his chest, blood blooming against the stark white of his uniform. I was already moving, pulled him behind cover, shouting for evac, for medics, for backup. His breath was shallow, his face, God, I can still see it, was pale, but his eyes burned. They did this, he hissed. They wanted war, give it to them. And then, he was gone. Security locked the station down, too late to catch the assassin. Council members wrung their hands, issued hollow condolences. The Zarn offered a formal investigation. What a damn joke. We knew. We all knew. Reiner had spent years blocking their expansion. He'd exposed their backdoor dealings with the Threxian slavers. He'd forced them to sign the Human Sovereignty Accords under the threat of Earth's new dreadnought fleet. And now he was dead. Earth's delegation withdrew immediately. I flew escort on the return shuttle. The tension in the cabin was suffocating. Every soldier, every diplomat, every aide seething in quiet fury. No one said it out loud yet, but it was there in every glance, every clenched jaw. We were going to war. I met with General Stanton the moment we landed. The old man was waiting in the bunker beneath United Earth Command in Geneva, already running strategic scenarios. "It's confirmed," Stanton said grimly, sliding a datapad towards me. "Nano-disruptor round. Zarn tech, off record, only used by their Black Ops division." "So, a hit," I said, my voice flat. "A message," Stanton corrected. "They think we'll fold. That without Reiner, Earth will back down." "They don't know us," I said. Stanton's hard gaze met mine. "Number they don't, and they're about to learn." Within hours, Reiner's assassination broadcast hit every colony, every station, every outpost. The footage of his last moments looped endlessly across EarthNet feeds. Grief turned to outrage in the streets. Recruitment stations overflowed. Factories switched to full wartime production. The council sent envoys demanding calm, demanding investigations, demanding patience. We sent them silence. The president declared full mobilization. Task Force Retribution, an unprecedented joint fleet, was commissioned. Stanton put me in command of Valkyrie Squadron, Earth's top strike pilots. I didn't hesitate. I buried my grief beneath fury, strapped into my fighter, and swore an oath over Reiner's empty chair. We would burn their stars for this. I barely slept in those first 72 hours. None of us did. The hangars of the UES Resolute, Earth's new flagship carrier, echoed with the sound of loading drones, strike craft prepped for combat, weapons technicians working round the clock. The scent of oil, ozone, and sweat clung to everything. This wasn't a drill. This wasn't another border skirmish. We all knew it. Commander Reiner's funeral had been short. Military honors, streamed live to billions. His empty casket was draped in the Earth flag, carried through the streets of Geneva by an honor guard of veterans. I watched it from the command deck, fists clenched at my sides. There was no body, no remains to bury. That alone was a message from the Tsarn. Your leader was nothing, gone without trace. I stood next to General Stanton as the last shots of the gun salute rang out. His face was carved from stone. "We move in 12 hours, he said. "No warning, no negotiations." I nodded. My throat was dry. "Permission to speak freely, sir?" I asked. "Granted. We should have done this years ago. Reiner kept the leash on us because he thought we could still change things." I shook my head. "They only respect power." Stanton's mouth twitched into something like a bitter smile. "That leash is gone now, Captain." And with that, it began. Operation Iron Vow. Our orders were brutal and simple. Hit Tsarn-controlled worlds, cripple their fleet yards, dismantle their supply chains. No half measures. No drawn-out diplomatic games. Valkyrie's squadron, my squad, was assigned the first strike. An assault on Vitraxis Prime, one of the Tsarn's largest weapons manufacturing hubs. Its orbit was ringed with defense satellites and corvette patrols. The planetary surface crawled with mech divisions and ground-to-space batteries, the kind of target Reiner never would have sanctioned hitting first. Now, it was target number 1. I briefed the squad in the Resolute's mission chamber. The air was thick with tension, a room full of killers barely leashed. "We go in fast and hard," I told them. "No survivors on their command deck, no prisoners. We're not here to send messages. We're here to end them." My wingman, Lieutenant Cross, gave a sharp nod. He'd flown with me through the Orion rebellions. No stranger to hard calls. "What about Council response?" one of the rookies asked. I met his gaze. "The Council didn't stop them from murdering Reiner. They won't stop us now. Any alien ship that fires on us gets torn apart." No one argued. We launched under blackout protocols. No pre-assault comms, no warning. Just 30 of Earth's deadliest strike pilots screaming out of the Resolute's belly, weapons hot. My fighter, Wraith 1, was a beast of a machine. Twin plasma lances, adaptive shielding, stealth weave hull. The cockpit hummed around me, controls familiar under my fingers like an old friend. "Valkyrie, on me," I barked. We punch through their net and drive straight for the orbital foundries. Acknowledgements rolled in. Grim, terse. No war cries, no bravado. This was vengeance. The first kill came 30 seconds after we dropped into Vitraxis orbit. A Tsarn corvette swept toward us, shields flaring, pulse cannons charging. I cut left, Cross rolling right. 2 more Valkyries flanked wide. "Target marked," Cross called. "Fire!" 4 plasma lances hammered the corvette's shield dome. It flickered, collapsed. Seconds later, the ship split down the middle in a blossom of fire and metal. Scratch 1. No celebration, just cold efficiency. The rest of the squad cut through the defensive ring like a blade through cloth. Tsarn fighters scrambled too late, their formations sloppy, panicked. They hadn't expected Earth to retaliate this fast or this hard. That was their second mistake. By the time we breached the inner defense grid, 4 more corvettes and 36 drones were debris in high orbit. "Planetary batteries locking on," Cross warned. "I see them," I snapped. "Valkyrie dive pattern gamma, now!" We dropped into atmosphere, hulls glowing from friction, surface batteries spitting blue-white beams at us. One clipped my wing. Warning lights screamed, but the shield held. Below us, Vitraxis Prime sprawled, a vast industrial city of spires, smokestacks, and crawling transport lines. And in the heart of it all, the foundries. "Mark your targets," I ordered. We went in at full burn, plasma torpedoes primed. The first volley slammed into the foundry superstructure, massive detonations that sent shockwaves through the cityscape. Factories burned, supply lines shattered. Tsarn ground forces scrambled in futility. I watched through my scope as an entire mech column vaporized under a cascading reactor overload. For Reiner, I thought grimly, and for every human they thought they could break. It took us 30 minutes to gut Vitraxis Prime's war machine. The ground forces didn't stand a chance. The orbital defenders had been annihilated. We lost 2 pilots. Good men. But we didn't stop to mourn. There wasn't time. As we climbed back toward high orbit, I opened the squad-wide channel. Valkyrie, mission success. Now hear this. This is just the beginning. They killed our leader. They murdered Hope, and they think we'll crawl back to our little corner of the stars. My voice shook with cold fury. They're wrong. We will burn their worlds. We will tear down their empires. We will show them what it means to make enemies of men. The return to the Resolute was met with silence. No cheers, no handshakes. Just hardened faces and loading crews already prepping for the next run. General Stanton met me on the command deck. He didn't need a report. He'd seen the data feeds. "Well done, Captain," he said. "Intel confirms we crippled half their Eastern Fleet resupply." "Not enough," I said. My voice came out hoarse. "Not yet." His gaze sharpened. "And it won't stop here. You're cleared for next phase strikes. We've already begun coordinating with the Martian Legions and Lunar Defense Corps." I should have felt satisfaction, but all I felt was the hollow weight of Reiner's absence. He should have been here, leading this charge. Instead, we were building a war machine fueled by his ghost. The Council's reaction came days later. A missive broadcast across all diplomatic channels. Cease hostilities. Initiate negotiations. Stand down. We sent no reply. Their emissary ships tried to approach the Resolute. Stanton had them turned away at gunpoint. The message was clear. You killed our leader. Now we kill yours. That night, alone in my quarters, I watched the recording again. The moment the shot took Reiner. The way his eyes blazed in those last seconds. Give it to them. His words echoed through me like a command. Cross pinged my comms. "Sir, Intel just cleared a priority target, the Zarn Council stronghold on Vorath." I leaned forward. Details. Deep in their core systems, heavily fortified. But if we hit it hard and fast... I cut him off. "Prep the squad. We move at dawn." I ended the transmission and stood. Outside my viewport, Earth hung in the black, scarred but unbroken. I swore again, to the stars, to Reiner's memory, to every human who burned with the same fury. We were not finished, not by a long shot. Vorath. The Zarn called it their crown jewel, the oldest city of their empire, home to their council, their ruling bloodlines. A planet ringed with fleet docks, armored moons, and orbital weapons platforms. It was the heart of their power, and it was where they thought they were untouchable. Idiots. Valkyrie Squadron didn't wait for orders from Earth Command. We were beyond diplomacy now. This was a war of retribution, and the only law we answered to was the one Reiner had left behind in his dying breath. Give it to them. We left the Resolute under deep cloak protocols. No chatter, no beacon signals. Our squadron cut through the black like ghosts. Vorath was bigger than Earth, a gas-shrouded marble of silver and cobalt. At night, the surface glittered from orbit. Cities lit up in arrogant display. Billions of Zarn lived down there, hidden behind walls they thought couldn't be breached. When the tactical map flickered to life on my HUD, I studied it coldly. "Primary target," Cross said over a tight comm. "Council Citadel, center of Vorath's capital. Secondary targets, orbital command nodes, anti-air batteries, defense fleet on standby." "How many ships?" I asked. 3 capital dreadnoughts, 27 cruisers, several dozen destroyers. Surface-to-orbit defenses pegged at maximum saturation. I absorbed the numbers without blinking. Good. This wasn't going to be a surgical strike. No precision sniping. No message sending. We were here to rip the heart out of the Zarn Empire and show the rest of the galaxy what happened when you made an enemy out of men. Valkyrie Squadron, I said. Load anti-capital ordnance. Full payload. As we approached, the Zarn fleet stirred. Their sensors must have pinged on us despite the stealth weave. I watched them fan out in defensive formation, a wall of gleaming hulls bristling with weapons, their shields flaring to life like angry suns. Stealth's blown, Cross said. Doesn't matter. I toggled my channel open. Listen up. You don't have to come with me. You break now, no black marks, no court-martials, but I'm flying straight into their teeth. No one wavered. Valkyrie Squadron tightened formation, ships sliding into position with cold precision. These men didn't follow me out of loyalty to Earth Command. They followed me because they wanted the same thing I did. Blood. I throttled to full burn. Let's end them. The first wave came fast, destroyers cutting through the void like sharks, pulse cannons lighting up the dark. We broke formation and dove straight at them. Plasma bolts scorched past my canopy. I twisted my fighter, lances hot, and punched a clean hole through a destroyer's bridge. It spiraled, venting flame and bodies into space. Cross winged another, peeling its flank open like a tin can. Explosions blossomed all around us. The Zarn fleet moved like they were still facing diplomats, not soldiers. They clung to their precious formations, their doctrine, their belief that humanity wouldn't dare push past the old rules of war. Another mistake. Valkyrie pilots didn't play by their rules. We punched gaps, flanked hard, hit their engine cores and reactor stacks. Ship after ship went dark, detonating in flashes of light. I juked hard left, plasma slicing the space I'd just occupied. My targeting reticle locked onto a Zarn dreadnought, a monstrous thing bristling with rail cannons and missile tubes. Wraith 1 to Squadron, focus fire Sector 5, bring it down. Cross and two others roared in beside me. We painted the dreadnought's shields with overlapping lance fire until they buckled, shimmering and collapsing in a flash. Firing. I squeezed the trigger. The warhead streaked toward the citadel, trailing fire. The impact was immediate, a colossal burst of light and shockwave that shattered the structure in a deafening roar. Debris and bodies were flung skyward. The ground rippled as if the planet itself was groaning in agony. The Zarn Council, their highest leaders, their precious bloodlines, gone in a single stroke. We pulled up, engines screaming, and climbed back toward orbit. Behind us, Vorath burned. Fires spread across the capital, smoke rising in thick columns visible even from high altitude. As we punched through the thinning atmosphere, the second dreadnought fell, Cross putting a rail round straight through its bridge. The last dreadnought tried to run. We didn't let it. Valkyrie Squadron, down by nearly half now, tore it to pieces. I watched through my canopy as the last of the Zarn's proud fleet detonated in silence. Mission success, Cross said hoarsely. I didn't answer. I just stared at the ruin below us. We hadn't just crippled them. We'd humiliated them. A species that had treated humanity like up-jumped primates for decades had just watched their invincible fortress fall to ash. There would be no negotiations after this, no ceasefires, no peace talks, only war. Back aboard the Resolute, Stanton met us in the hangar. His face was pale, drawn tight with tension. Casualty reports coming in, he said quietly. 19 Valkyrie pilots down. Enemy losses, incalculable. We've hit them harder than anyone thought possible. I pulled off my flight helmet, feeling the sweat and grime coating my skin. Was it enough? I asked. Stanton looked at me long and hard. For now, but you've just started something we can't walk away from. Good. Hours later, alone in the ready room, I reviewed the battle footage. Ship kills, citadel destruction. Zarn communications. Panicked, chaotic, desperate. And then a final transmission, intercepted and decrypted by EarthNet intelligence. It was from the surviving Zarn warlords, huddled in some subterranean fortress. Their voices trembled with rage and fear. Humanity will pay for this. We will eradicate Earth. I smiled grimly. Let them try. We weren't diplomats anymore. We weren't colonists. We weren't just another species in the Council's great hierarchy. We were the storm that was coming for them all, and we weren't going to stop until the stars ran red. The Council's official response came 2 days after the fall of Vorath. A communiqué, broadcast across all channels, thinly veiled in the language of condemnation and grief. Human aggression has violated all galactic accords. Earth is now considered a rogue state. A state of war is declared. I watched the transmission in the Resolute's briefing chamber with Stanton and the surviving Valkyrie pilots. The Zarn envoy, some puffed-up ceremonial parasite draped in gold filigree, tried to sound commanding, but his voice shook. His eyes darted nervously off-screen as if expecting a strike at any moment. He should have. We weren't finished. Not even close. The next phase of Operation Iron Vow was already in motion. Earth's colonies were mobilizing. The Martian legions had moved out, and the Lunar Defense Corps was tearing through Zarn border outposts with brutal efficiency. But the Council's declaration had stirred the rest of the galaxy, too. Species that had once claimed neutrality now weighed their options. Some were old Zarn allies, parasites fattened on Earth's trade concessions. Others were opportunists, waiting to see who would bleed first. And some were watching us with fear. Good. Intel confirms Council fleets massing near the Omega Line, Stanton said as he traced the galactic map. 2 major factions declared alignment with the Zarn, the Vorathi and the Corel. Cowards, Cross muttered, waiting for the bigger dog to throw them scraps. Stanton nodded grimly. But that doesn't change the facts. We're outnumbered 20-1 on paper. I crossed my arms. Numbers mean nothing if they don't have the will to fight. After Vorath, they're second-guessing everything. The general gave me a sharp look. That buys us time, but we need to hit them again, hard, keep them off balance. He brought up a new target schematic, a sprawling network of Zarn-controlled supply worlds along the Vorta Reach. Without these, their fleets starve, Stanton said. We cripple their logistics and the rest can't hold formation. I didn't hesitate. Give me the strike group. Valkyrie Squadron was battered, more than half of our original pilots gone, but replacements from Earth's elite wings had begun trickling in. Young, hungry, with something to prove. I gathered them in the ready bay. The tension was thick, the kind that buzzes in your blood before a fight. Some of you are fresh out of simulators, I said flatly. This is not a drill. You've seen the footage. You know what we're fighting for. I let the words hang. No false hope. No speeches about honor. This is war, I continued. They will not spare us, and we will not spare them. If any of you can't pull that trigger, step out now. No one moved. Good. We launched under blackout again, jumping deep into the Vorta Reach aboard the carrier Indomitable, a sister ship to the Resolute. Our target, the Zarn logistical hub on Dravath, a planet-sized warehouse world feeding 3 of their largest fleets. The mission was madness, a deep strike raid into hostile territory with a skeleton wing and no fleet backup. But if we pulled it off, it would set their war machine back months. And more importantly, it would send another message. Earth wasn't afraid of their numbers or their declarations. We were coming for them, everywhere, always. We dropped into Dravath orbit at 0300 hours, ship time. No warning, no chatter. The planet swam beneath us, endless kilometers of industrial complexes, docking rings, orbital elevators. Valkyrie, weapons free, I ordered. Strike fast, no mercy. We hit them like a hammer. Orbital cargo stations burned first, fuel depots rupturing in massive chain reactions that lit up the void. Freighter convoys were caught mid-dock, shredded by torpedoes. Zarn escort ships scrambled too late, their formations a panicked mess. Valkyrie cut through them like wolves in a flock. I locked onto a heavy hauler trying to run and sent a plasma lance straight through its engine block. The explosion scattered debris across the dock grid. "Surface defenses activating," Cross called. "Ignore them," I snapped. "Priority is the loading nexus." We dove low, atmosphere burning across our canopies. Anti-air fire streaked past us, blinding, chaotic. One of the new pilots clipped a beam and spun out, his ship vanishing in a burst of light. "Keep tight!" I barked. Through the haze, the loading nexus loomed, a colossal platform stacked with ammunition stockpiles, fuel tanks, and supply trains. A perfect target. "Ordnance ready," Cross said. "Fire." We unleashed hell, torpedoes and plasma rounds tearing through the nexus in a series of catastrophic detonations. Entire segments of the complex collapsed, secondary explosions cascading across the platform. The ground shook beneath us as blast waves rippled out for kilometers. "Target neutralized," Cross reported. "Not done yet," I growled. "Sweep for any surviving transports. I want nothing leaving this rock." We hunted them down like dogs, haulers, shuttles, even escape pods trying to run. No quarter, no mercy. The message had to be absolute. Earth takes its revenge in full. By dawn cycle, the Zarn logistical hub was in ruins. Dravath burned, its orbit choked with debris. The Council's proud supply chain crippled in a single night. We limped back to the Indomitable with half our wing missing, hulls scorched and battered. The cost was high, but the payoff was higher. Stanton's face appeared on the comms as soon as we docked. "Confirmed reports. 3 Council fleets stranded in the Vorta Reach. No resupply. No forward movement." I slumped in my seat, exhaustion hitting like a freight hauler. "It's not enough," I said. Stanton nodded. "Number, but it's a start." EarthNet broadcast the footage within hours, the burning wreckage of Dravath plastered across every screen. Across Earth's colonies, recruitment tripled overnight. Civilian ships offered themselves for conversion to military use. Every human settlement from Mars to Titan was forging weapons and preparing for siege. We weren't just fighting back anymore, we were winning. But victory breeds consequences. 2 days later, a Council fleet, led by K'Rel warlords, jumped into Sol space, an armada of over 60 ships, aiming straight for Earth. "Full planetary assault," Stanton briefed us. "They intend to glass us. No ground invasion, no occupation, annihilation." The words hung heavy in the briefing room. This was it, the retaliation we all knew would come. I stood. "Then we meet them head on." Cross grinned fiercely. "About time they came to us. We scrambled every fleet Earth had, Resolute, Indomitable, Martian dreadnoughts, lunar gun batteries, civilian ships armed with jury-rigged cannons and makeshift torpedoes, every man and woman who could fly, fight, or fire a weapon. The battle for Earth wasn't going to be fought from behind walls. It was going to be fought in blood and fire, just as Reiner would have wanted. And I'd be damned if I let them take my world. I stood in the Resolute's command deck, staring at the tactical display. The Council fleet was coming fast. 60-plus ships, K'Rel dreadnoughts, Varathi cruisers, Zarn strike squadrons. The biggest armada ever fielded against Earth. Their intent was clear. Wipe us out. No parley, no surrender terms. Just annihilation. Behind me, General Stanton's voice was cold steel. "They want to make an example," he said. "They think if they burn Earth, the colonies will fold." "They're wrong," I said flatly. Across the chamber, comms officers worked feverishly, coordinating Earth's defense. Every orbital gun, Every ship, every scrap of firepower was being thrown into the void. There would be no retreat. This was our line in the sand. The War Council convened 1 hour before impact. Stanton, myself, Cross, and the heads of every major fleet. "Enemy fleet entering Sol orbit in 6 hours," Stanton began. "We hit them at Mars orbit. Force them to commit early." "Numbers still favor them," one Martian admiral said grimly. "We'll take losses." "We were always going to take losses," I snapped. "But they're overconfident. They think Earth's still playing politics. Let's show them we're not." Stanton nodded. "Brenner's right. We bleed them at Mars, break their cohesion. Then we fall back and draw them into Earth's orbital kill zones. Simple. Brutal. The only plan we had." I returned to the ready bay. Valkyrie squadron gathered around the ops table. The faces staring back at me were worn, but fierce. Veterans, rookies, survivors of Dravath and Vorath. We'd all bled for this fight. "This is it," I said quietly. "They're coming to burn our home, our families, our cities." A pause. No need to spell out what failure meant. "So we hold the line," I continued. "We give them nothing but wreckage and bodies. You fly like Reiner's watching." Cross grinned savagely. "He is." 6 hours later, Valkyrie squadron launched from the Resolute. The void beyond shimmered with distant flashes. Mars orbit was already lit with plasma fire. As we approached, the scale of the battle hit me. Dozens of enemy ships stretched across the stars, their hulls gleaming, their guns firing in endless barrages. Earth's fleet darted between them, trading kills for kills. Comms were a constant roar of battle chatter, damage reports, and last words. I toggled squadron channel. "Valkyrie weapons free. Target Corel dreadnoughts first. We punch through their center." Acknowledgements rolled in, grim, determined. We dove into the heart of the battle. Enemy plasma fire streaked past my canopy, close enough to rattle the frame. I juked left, locked onto a Corel cruiser, and let fly a salvo of torpedoes. The first volley breached its shield, the second tore through its hull. The ship detonated, spinning debris into the void. Cross peeled right, winging an enemy flanker. 2 Valkyrie rookies followed him in, finishing the kill. All around us, the void burned. Ships exploding, shields flaring, bodies drifting. There was no formation anymore, just brutal, close-quarters slaughter. "Dreadnought, bearing 090, Cross called. I banked hard, catching sight of the monster, a Caral capital ship bristling with heavy cannons. "Valkyrie, mark target, focus fire." We swarmed the dreadnought like hornets, plasma lances carving through its armor. Return fire rocked my fighter. Warning lights blazed, but I held course. "Keep hitting it," I shouted. A final torpedo barrage from Cross breached its reactor. The dreadnought went nova, taking 2 of its escort ships with it. But the enemy kept coming. For every ship we downed, 2 more pressed forward. Mars orbit was a graveyard now, both sides bleeding badly. "General Stanton to all units. Fall back to Earth orbital perimeter. Phase 2. I toggled my comms. "Valkyrie on me. We fall back and draw them in." One by one, battered and scorched, we turned and burned for Earth. As we crossed into Earth orbit, the second line of defense came online. Orbital gun batteries, lunar cannons, planetary shield projectors. Everything Earth had was primed to strike. Below us, Earth shone blue and green, beautiful and fragile. Our home. I swallowed hard. No way in hell were we letting them touch it. The Council fleet entered Earth orbit an hour later, emboldened by their apparent gains at Mars. "Multiple dreadnoughts entering range," Cross reported. "Let them," I growled. "Time to show them what Earth's teeth look like." The first Coral ships breached the orbital perimeter, right into the heart of our kill zones. Orbital cannons opened fire, beams of energy punching through shields and hulls. Dreadnoughts staggered, crippled, some torn apart before they could fire a shot. The void filled with wreckage. But the council ships pressed on, desperation driving them. They wanted blood, they wanted to break us, and they weren't going to stop until we broke them first. "Valkyrie, pick your targets," I shouted. "We take out their heavy hitters." We launched into the melee. I rolled hard under a Zarn cruiser, targeting its ventral guns. Plasma lances tore them away, leaving the ship open for a torpedo strike. I hammered it, fire and metal spilling out as the cruiser broke apart. Cross downed another, his fighter trailing smoke. "This is for Reiner," he snarled. The battle raged for hours, wave after wave of enemy ships falling to Earth's guns and fighters. The Council fleet was bleeding, cohesion breaking. And then, the tide shifted. One of the K-Rel flagships, a monstrous thing twice the size of the Resolute, lurched forward, its guns trained on the planet. "They're going for a planetary strike!" a comms officer screamed. I locked onto the flagship, gut churning. "If that ship fires," Stanton said grimly, "we lose cities." I didn't wait for orders. "Valkyrie, form up! We're taking that bastard down!" We dove as one, pushing engines to the limit. Enemy fire lashed around us. 3 Valkyrie ships were shredded before we reached the flagship's shields. I targeted the shield emitter array, hammering it with everything I had. "Cross, take the reactors!" I shouted. He peeled off, torpedoes streaking in. The flagship's shields collapsed in a burst of light. I dove lower, skimming its hull, lances cutting deep into the exposed armor. The ship's cannons flared, but too late. Cross's torpedoes struck the reactor core. An instant later, the flagship detonated in a blinding inferno. The shockwave rocked my fighter. I barely held control, alarms screaming in my ears. But when the smoke cleared, the flagship was gone. Cheers erupted across the comms. Earth's defenders had seen it. The Council fleet wavered, their formation collapsing. "This is Stanton," came the call. "All units, press the attack." We didn't need telling twice. Valkyrie led the charge, tearing into the retreating enemy. One by one, the Council ships broke formation, fleeing into the void. The ones that stayed died. Hours later, the void above Earth was clear. Wreckage drifted in orbit, the remnants of the largest fleet ever fielded against us. But Earth still stood. In the aftermath, I stood with Stanton on the Resolute's bridge, staring out at the stars. "We held," I said quietly. "For now," Stanton replied. "But this war isn't over, you know that." I nodded. "They came to burn us," I said. "We burned them instead." And in my gut, I knew this was just the beginning. We'd defended Earth, but now it was our turn to go on the offensive. No more waiting, no more reacting. Now, humanity would take the fight to their worlds, and we wouldn't stop until the galaxy remembered one truth. You don't kill Earth's leader and live to tell the tale. Victory tasted like ash. We had held Earth, yes. The Council fleet was wrecked, their best warships bleeding out in the void. But standing on the Resolute's command deck, watching the debris fields drift past the battered hull, I didn't feel triumph. I felt hunger. Revenge wasn't a single battle. It wasn't the defense of a single world. Reiner had known that. He hadn't told us to hold the line. He'd told us to burn theirs. And now it was time. In the days after the battle, Earth's war machine shifted into a new gear. The colonies had seen what happened. The footage of the Council flagship exploding above Earth was being replayed on every screen, every feed. Recruits flooded in by the thousands. Civilian freighters were being refitted into gunships. Martian shipyards worked around the clock, churning out new cruisers and destroyers. For the first time, humanity wasn't reacting. We weren't playing defense. We were hunting. Stanton convened the War Council in the Resolute's briefing room 5 days after the battle. "This is the moment," he said. "We've broken the myth of Council superiority. They're scrambling to rebuild. Intelligence reports multiple border systems stripped of their main defenses." He brought up a tactical map, a spread of Council territories along the Perseus Arm. "Targets?" I asked. He pointed to a system near the edge of the Zarn core worlds. "Tyros' third major shipyard, critical supply nexus, lightly defended now." I studied the data. "Hit it, and we gut their ability to project force for months," I said. Stanton nodded. "It's yours, Brenner. Take Valkyrie plus Task Group Theta." Cross leaned forward. "Permission to go hunting?" Stanton's mouth twitched. Permission granted. Preparation took 2 days. Valkyrie Squadron, now reinforced with fresh pilots from Luna and Titan, ran continuous drills. Task Group Theta, a mixed fleet of cruisers and heavy frigates, loaded for maximum punch. We weren't going to sneak in this time. This was a declaration. We would strike at the heart of their war machine, and we would do it so openly, the entire galaxy would feel the tremors. Before launch, I stood alone in the Valkyrie-ready bay. Reiner's image, his final speech to EarthNet, played on a loop in my mind. "They think we're lesser. They think we won't fight. Let them think it." I clenched my fists. "They won't think it much longer," I whispered. We jumped into Tyros space under full burn. No stealth, no subtlety. Task Group Theta emerged first. Dozens of human warships bristling with guns. Valkyrie Squadron followed, a swarm of fighters spreading across the stars. Enemy response was immediate. Zarn defenders scrambling to form a perimeter. But it was patchwork. Rushed. Their main fleets were still licking their wounds from Earth. "Primary targets are the shipyards and supply hubs," I told the squadron. "You see a target, you kill it. No second chances." Cross's voice came through, low and eager. "Copy that." We hit them fast. Valkyrie fighters dove into the shipyard perimeter, plasma lances carving through the defensive grid. Drones exploded, flak cannons went dark, station hulls breached in gouts of flame. Task Group Theta pounded the orbital docks with heavy ordnance. I watched as half-built Zarn cruisers, still tethered to their scaffolds, were torn apart before they could even power up. "Enemy reinforcements incoming," Cross reported. 6 cruisers, 2 dreadnoughts inbound." "Let them come," I said coldly. We weren't leaving until the system was burning. I led a strike run straight into the shipyard command spire. The target lock flared green. I loosed a full spread of torpedoes. The spire disintegrated in a chain of detonations, debris raining down onto the planet below. Enemy dreadnoughts moved in, firing wildly. "Valkyrie, break formation! Engage at will!" I barked. We swarmed the lead dreadnought. Plasma lances hammered its shields. Cross's torpedoes breached the armor, and a Martian cruiser finished the job with a railgun shot that split the ship clean in 2. The second dreadnought fought harder. Its flak nearly clipped my wing as I rolled under its guns. "Come on," I muttered, locking missiles. Cross and I hit the reactor core together. The blast was so bright my visor auto-darkened. When the glare faded, there was nothing left but wreckage. Below us, the planet burned. Task Group Theta's heavy batteries raked the surface. Fuel depots, war factories, logistics hubs reduced to molten craters. I watched through my scope, grim satisfaction settling in my gut. They had killed our leader. We were killing their future. By the 6th hour, Tyros 3 was finished. The system was aflame, its defenders dead or fleeing. "Mission success," Stanton relayed from the Resolute. "Full strategic victory." I sat back in my cockpit, heart hammering, sweat-soaked flight suit clinging to my skin. But the fire in me wasn't dimming. Not yet. Back aboard the Resolute, Stanton met me in the war room. "You made a statement today," he said. "The Council's already scrambling to respond." I shook my head. "Not enough. We need to hit deeper, Harder. His eyes met mine. You'll get your chance. Intel reports a gathering of high-value Zarn leaders on Velos Station in 3 days. You up for another run? I didn't hesitate. We don't stop, I said. Not until they're afraid to even speak Earth's name. Later that night, I stood alone in the observation deck. The stars stretched out before me, silent, cold. But I could feel it. A shift in the air, a tremor in the currents of war. Humanity wasn't prey anymore. We were predators, and the galaxy was starting to realize it. I didn't sleep after Tyros 3. None of us did. Victory didn't quiet the hunger. If anything, it made it sharper. We'd torn out a piece of the Zarn's war machine, but it wasn't enough. Not yet. The bastards still breathed, their leaders still plotted. And now we had a chance to fix that. Velos Station. Deep in contested space, wrapped in a triple defense grid, the place was a fortress. Supposedly neutral, supposedly off-limits to direct military action under Council law, which meant it was perfect for backroom deals and shadow councils. Now, according to intel Stanton had somehow dragged out of a captured Zarn admiral, Velos was hosting a gathering of senior Zarn command, plus warlords from allied species. A war summit. Plans for a full counteroffensive were already being drawn, unless we burned it all first. The briefing was short. Hit fast, hit hard, Stanton said. You'll have one window. Once they spot you, every fleet in range will converge. I nodded. We won't give them the chance. Valkyrie Squadron was leaner now. We'd lost good people at Tyros, and the replacements from Earth were still green. But the ones left? Hardened. Hungry. Cross met me at the launch bay. His expression was sharp, eyes burning. You really think they'll all be there? He asked. They're arrogant, I replied. They think Earth's still too scared to strike this deep. We'll prove them wrong. We jumped in under partial cloak, the fleet staying behind the nearest gravity well while Valkyrie advanced. No backup this time. Just us. A surgical hit. Velos hung in the black like a dark jewel, massive, multi-tiered, its outer rings bristling with guns. Beneath the main tower, a maze of hangars and private docks housed the elite of half the Council's power players. I could already picture it. Warlords congratulating themselves, Zarn commanders plotting their glorious counterstrike, betting on humanity folding under pressure. They had no idea what was coming. Approaching outer perimeter, Cross reported. Stealth to minimal, I ordered. Once we breach, full burn. The first line of defense, automated drone swarms, spotted us too late. Valkyrie lances ripped through them in seconds. Debris scattered across our path. Secondary grid coming online, came the call. Punch through. We dove hard, weapons hot. Surface cannons opened fire, beams slashing through the dark. One of our new pilots took a direct hit, gone in a flash of light. Stay tight, I shouted. We hit the defense towers first, torpedoes shredding their power cores. The ring guns went dark. Now came the hard part. Targets the summit chamber, upper spire, I reminded them. Kill everyone inside, no survivors. This wasn't a message mission. It wasn't about showing power. It was about making sure none of those bastards ever got to plan another attack on Earth. We broke through the final ring, armor scorched and shields straining. Velos's spire rose before us, an obsidian tower gleaming with shield fields. Target lock, Cross confirmed. Firing pattern Delta, now! Our lances smashed into the outer shield, hammering it until the field flickered, buckled. I lined up my torpedoes and let them fly, 4 heavy warheads screaming toward the spire's core. Impact. The tower cracked open like an egg. Fire and metal burst outward. Penetration confirmed, Cross said. Move in, I ordered. Hunt and kill. We dove into the breach. Through the smoke and flame, Interior levels were visible. Hangars, halls, command suites in chaos. Escape pods launched in every direction. "Take them out," I snapped. Valkyrie scattered, hunting anything that moved. Cross and I targeted the central summit chamber, already exposed by the blast. I caught sight of them through the targeting feed. Zarn commanders, warlords, scrambling through a collapsing hall. Too late. "Torpedoes ready," I growled. "Fire!" The chamber erupted in a wave of plasma. The station shuddered beneath us, secondary detonations cascading as reactors went critical. "Target neutralized," Cross said, voice flat. "Multiple high-value kills confirmed." I looked at the burning wreckage below. Good. Let them choke on their arrogance. But we weren't done yet. Alarms screamed across the station. Enemy reinforcements, Zarn destroyers and Kyrell escorts, were closing fast. "Time to exfil," I called. "Copy that." We burned out of the breach at max thrust, weaving through collapsing structures and debris fields. Cross's fighter skimmed a crumbling tower, too close, but he held it steady. The enemy fleet was closing hard. Plasma fire stitched the black. I rolled hard, juking under a volley. One of our newer pilots wasn't as lucky. His ship shredded under triple impacts. "Keep moving," I barked. Valkyrie tore through the enemy screen, engines screaming. The outer debris fields became a killing ground. Half the enemy ships firing blind, panicked. Cross downed a cruiser with a brutal rear strike. "Not today, you bastards," he muttered. Finally, we cleared the field. "Valkyrie, jump coordinates set. On my mark." A pause, seconds stretching like hours. "Mark." The stars twisted. We emerged deep in safe space, battered but alive. Mission success. Full confirmation. Council summit decapitated. Several Zarn high command figures dead. Velos station burning. Back aboard the Resolute, Stanton met me with a rare smile. "You've just torn out the heart of their leadership," he said. "Council comms are in chaos." I nodded grimly. "They'll send more fleets now, desperate ones. Then we'll burn those too." Later, alone, I reviewed the kill feeds. Frame by frame, watching the spire collapse, the Council's arrogance turning to ash. But even then, I knew. We were far from done. They'd be angrier now, more reckless. Good. Let them come. Let the galaxy tremble. Humanity wasn't running anymore. We were the storm now, and the war was far from over. We thought Velos would break them. And in a way, it had. The Council was in chaos. Their fleets were leaderless, their supply chains gutted, their allies second-guessing everything. The galaxy was watching Earth now, not as an upstart species, not as prey, but as a predator. But broken enemies are the most dangerous, and we knew they wouldn't die quietly. The intelligence came through 2 days after Velos burned. A Council strike fleet had mobilized from the Kyrell core worlds. A desperation move. Every remaining capital ship, every hired gun, every mercenary fleet they could muster. Their objective wasn't conquest. It was vengeance. They were coming to glass Earth, to leave nothing but a radioactive husk spinning in the void, a final middle finger to a species that had bloodied their nose. And this time, they weren't coming alone. Reports showed Threxian slaver warbands, rogue Varathi hive fleets, even independent pirate syndicates joining the assault. A suicide armada. It was coming fast. The War Council convened on the Resolute as soon as the intel hit. Stanton's expression was grim. "This is it," he said. "The last throw of the dice. They'll either wipe us out or we'll finish them once and for all." I studied the holomap. Enemy fleet vectors showed a massive convergence point 3 days out from Sul. "They're throwing everything," I said. "If we break them here, they won't have anything left." Cross leaned over the table. "Then we break them." Preparations began immediately. Every surviving ship, every fighter wing, Every orbital weapon was brought online. Civilian militia ships were armed to the teeth. Colony reinforcements streamed in, Martian dreadnoughts, Titan warbands, even deep space prospectors volunteering their mining rigs as makeshift gun platforms. Earth wouldn't fall. Not this time. Not ever. I stood before Valkyrie Squadron in the ready bay one last time. "You all know what's coming," I said. My voice was raw, steady. "This isn't a battle. It's not about territory or politics. It's survival. They want to wipe us out because we dared to stand." I looked at each of them. Veterans, rookies, survivors. Let's make sure they regret it. 3 days later, the black above Earth boiled with ships. The Council Armada was massive, hundreds of ships, larger than the first assault. Twisted Threxian war hulks drifted alongside sleek Karel dreadnoughts. Pirate raiders darted in the gaps, hungry for spoils, but Earth stood ready. From the Resolute's command deck, Stanton issued the final order. "Hold nothing back. This is for every colony, every soldier, every soul they tried to break. Show them who we are." Valkyrie launched first. As we broke through the atmosphere, Earth gleamed below, a world worth every drop of blood we'd spilled. I toggled squadron channel. "Valkyrie, one last hunt." Cross's reply came sharp and eager. "Till the stars burn out." The void erupted. Orbital batteries hammered the first wave of enemy ships, tearing through lighter escorts. Dreadnoughts answered with devastating barrages, city-sized lances of energy lighting the black. Valkyrie dove through the chaos, plasma fire streaking past us. I juked hard left, locked onto a Threxian warhulk, and unleashed a full spread of torpedoes. The massive ship shuddered under the impacts, its engines flaring before it broke apart. Cross's voice crackled through the comms. "Right flank's folding. Pirate squadron's trying to flank." "Valkyrie, on me," I ordered. We rolled into the flank, cutting through pirate corvettes like wolves through sheep. Explosions dotted the void, debris scattering like shrapnel. "Not today," I snarled, but the enemy kept pressing. Karel dreadnoughts surged forward, shields flaring. Their main cannons targeted Earth's surface, too close. "Target their heavy guns!" I shouted. We dove low, weaving through enemy fire. I lined up on a dreadnought's ventral gun array and unleashed a full barrage. Cross hit the reactor a split second later. The massive ship cracked apart, its death throes lighting up the sky. For hours, the battle raged. Both sides bled. Valkyrie lost ships, good pilots, friends. Earth's fleet was battered, but still fighting, still clawing at the enemy. And then, through the smoke and chaos, came the enemy flagship, the last of the Karel High Command. A leviathan of a ship, its hull scarred, guns burning with fury. Its intent was clear. It was heading straight for Earth's surface. No more holding back, no more fleet engagements. One final strike to shatter us. "Valkyrie, form up," I called. "We take that bastard down or we die trying." Cross's voice was steel. "With you, sir." We pushed engines to the limit, racing the flagship toward Earth's atmosphere. Enemy escorts swarmed us. Valkyrie tore through them, but the price was high. More ships lost, more blood. But we didn't stop. I locked onto the flagship's main engines. "Fire everything." A storm of torpedoes, plasma lances, and rail slugs hammered the beast. Its shields flared, buckled, hull plates sheared away. Still it came. Closer now, its main gun charging, aimed straight at Earth's surface. We had one shot left. "Cross, reactor core, now!" We dove in tandem, flying straight into the flagship's inferno of defensive fire. My HUD blazed with warnings, armor flaking away. I didn't care. Not when Earth hung below us. Not when Reiner's last words still burned in my skull. Give it to them. Cross's torpedoes struck first, cracking the reactor shielding. I followed. One last salvo straight into the breach. Impact. The reactor went critical. The flagship shuddered, twisted, and then exploded in a sunburst of fire. The shockwave hurled us clear, my ship spinning, alarms screaming. But when I righted it, there was nothing left of the enemy behemoth. And around us, across the void, the enemy fleet wavered, shattered, leaderless, broken. "Enemy retreat," came Stanton's voice. "They're running." The comms erupted in cheers, but I couldn't speak. I just stared out at the wreckage-strewn void, heart pounding. We had won. Earth stood. Humanity stood. In the days after the battle, Earth became something new. Not just a world defending itself, a power, a force the galaxy could no longer ignore or dismiss. Stanton promoted me to fleet commander, but titles meant little. We had paid for this victory in blood. And we all knew this wasn't the end. The Council was crippled, but not dead. New wars would come. But next time, humanity wouldn't be caught off guard. Next time, we'd be the ones bringing the storm. I stood alone on the Resolute's observation deck that night, watching Earth spin below. And for the first time, in that endless black, I smiled. They had killed our leader. We had unleashed humanity's fury, and the galaxy would never forget it.